And the way you supplement that contract is by finding young and cheap players. And the only real way to do that is to find them in the draft. And I'm not talking about finding superstars. You have to find some of those guys. But you need to find just starter quality players, and you have to do it in the draft, and you have to do it consistently. If they do that, then I'm not too worried about them signing a 31-year-old Andrew Sendejo or one of those guys. It doesn't really matter to me in the long run.
Well, for me, it's not necessarily they're signing older guys. It's more so that they're signing guys that still have a lot to prove. And at this point, I don't think there's a tackle in free agency that can go out there and do a better job than Jason Peters. So that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking for production. And those guys, Sendejo, he's all right now, but he's coming in to take the spot of Corey Graham. So I can see that, having some validity also. But if you look at BG, his production is getting better. He's right in the prime of what he needs to do in rushing the passer. So I understand that move also. But yes, I mean, they are guys a little long in the tooth. You got guys like, the Grahams that are going out there and producing, and they probably would have got more money out in the open market, but they got them in a reasonable deal, so I understand them keeping them. You got Malcolm Jenkins, an older guy, but he's the leader of that defense. Imagine if he wasn't there this season. Imagine how bad this season would have been, especially in the secondary, if they didn't have his knowledge, they didn't have, everything he brought to the table as far as helping those younger players out. Wouldn't even thought about winning over 6 games. So these guys have a certain, je ne sais quoi of being around and being there because they have a little more to teach these younger players, a little more to bring to the table. At this point, we don't have a tackle ready right now to take the left tackle position. So you can't bring anybody in.
Je ne sais quoi, I like that. Look at you.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little finesse in there, baby.
The other point, too, is that these guys, they signed, it's not like it affects their long-term strategy.
Exactly.
Because they're short-term deals for the most part, and they gave themselves outs, too. A lot of the way these contracts are structured is their option years toward the end, so the Eagles get a chance to kind of look at them and figure out if they really fit into their plans long-term, and they give themselves some flexibility. So,
Dave, look at it.
Yeah.
Long story long, Kelsey is still top 2 center in the league.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to make sure you keep a guy like that. Pro Bowler, he'll be here for a long time. And if he wants to play, let that man play because he played excellent last year. You look at JP, when he was on the field, he was very productive. So I don't see anything wrong with paying older guys. They can still go out there and produce. And at this point, I have yet to see a left tackle in free agency or without a job right now that's even close to what Jason Peters is. In fact, I think Jason Peters is still better than probably 2/3 of the NFL right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And we're going to get into some of these guys right now because on NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com, you can find my latest story grading all the Eagles' moves from this offseason. Here's a little report card from me. You can see at the top there, my best grade goes to Jason Kelce. Like you said, he's still, to me, the best center in the league. Whatever you had to do to keep that guy for the next few years, I think you had to do it. That gets an A+ for me. I like Malik Jackson. I think he fits really well. Deshaun Jackson, the only reason I put a minus next to him is because of his age. At some point, he is going to lose a step, but I don't think it's going to be this year. My worst grade right there, Stefan Wisniewski. They didn't pick up the option on his contract. They saved about $3 million in cap space. If it were me, I would have kept him just because I think he was a really good insurance policy. Brandon Brooks is coming off that Achilles tear. For $3.7 million to have an adequate backup with starting experience, that would have been worth it for me. That's why that gets the worst grade. So take a look at some of these, Barrett. Which ones do you like? Which ones don't you like?
Well, I kind of disagree with Steven Wisniewski. At this point, he's not in a position to really go out there and be a starter with his offensive line when you have a young guy in the waiting right now. And, Wiz was, he went out there and produced when he had to, but at this point, Seumalo outplayed him. Seumalo showed that he needs to be in the lineup. And, you can't look past youth when you're bringing in a guy like that. I look at your list, man, there are some productive guys. I mean, I really think that because of Wiz got a little old and Matt Pryor came in and kind of established himself during practice, not necessarily in games, but I see him going out in practice and being the guy that they were looking for to be a backup guard on both sides. So Pryor probably take that position. So that's kind of a wash for me. I thought that he had to go. If you look at your Darby grade, I'm like, what are you talking about? Darby at this point is probably our best corner.
He is.
And, you know, you have to say he was a pretty much guy because in the open market, I thought he was going to get around 10 to 12 million a year if he decided to long-term deal with somebody. If he wasn't hurt, he'd have definitely got that. So I really thought that them signing him back, our best corner guy, was definitely something that put our defense in a better situation.
Let me defend the Darby grade. Hold on, let me defend the Darby grade.
You got to show me something. Tell me something.
Well, the thing with the Darby situation is the contract isn't as bad as what I initially thought it was going to be. But the problem here is you have a guy coming off an ACL tear. If he misses any time, now you're like, well, you signed him for a year. There's not like more years coming. You have him for this season, and he might be, well, he is. He's their best corner, but he's also now blocking younger guys who I want to see. I want to know what they have in Rasul Douglas and Sidney Jones and Avonte Maddox, and now he's blocking one of those spots because once you sign Ronald Darby, he has to play. He's better right now than those other guys, and I just wanted to see the younger ones play.
Well, I mean, the young guys have an opportunity when he was hurt to step up and play, and some of those guys did. But I still don't think they played at a higher level than Darby did. Another guy, Sendejo. I didn't really think that was a good deal at all. I don't know why they would bring a guy like that because they have guys right now in the waiting, like you said, who need an opportunity to play. Avonte Maddox, he needs an opportunity to go out there and see if he can compete for that third safety in the lineup. Of course, you know they play big nickel. Big nickel is a defense where they have 3 safeties instead of 2. He's a guy that can come in and be that guy to be in a slot, cover tight ends, cover running backs out of the backfield, and he's athletic enough to stay in that slot. So I wanted him to get his chance of being that third safety in the lineup. Plus, he can play corner too. But I also think they put Rasul Douglas. Give him an opportunity to go out there and play safety. I know they're not looking at him right now, but we're talking about a guy who led the team in tackles the last 6 games he started. He led the team in tackles. In fact, he had 96 tackles this year. And this is from a guy that came in a reserve role who didn't really have a lot of opportunities to start. And when he did, he's done nothing but go out there and produce when he's out there playing. So I didn't grade that as high as you did. I thought it was kind of low. I gave it a D+ because I really didn't think that he could come in and contribute like these younger guys can.
See, I gave it a B+. I thought it was a decent signing. They need depth in the secondary. We saw them get decimated. Say that happens again, maybe not to that extent, but what if they lose safeties this time? What if they lose more corners and you have to shuffle around? I'm sure Sendejo didn't get a lot of money. We haven't seen the contract details yet. I can't imagine he broke the bank. And you get a veteran in there. I like that move. I think it makes sense. So I like my B+. If you had to give me a grade for my grades, what would you give me?
You know what? I would give you a solid A-, B+ right there.
I'll take it. That's passing, baby.
You've done your research. You're around them all the time. But, hey, you know, I just wouldn't have done, you know, those 3 moves. I had a problem with. The rest of it, you're kind of right on track.
You're allowed to disagree. I'm wrong.
Well, yesterday the Cowboys